DJ Metal Craig of Craig's Metalstorm here. I have the members of Burn in Effigy with me today. Hey, how's it going? Would you like to introduce yourselves and what positions you do in the band?
What's up, guys? I'm Smetty. I'm the singer and lyric writer for Burn in Effigy.
What's up? I'm Mike. I do rhythm guitar. Matt, I do bass.
I'm Eddie, and I play drums.
And before we get into the questions for the interview, would you guys mind not listing off the member that's with you today, like the member who couldn't make it?
Oh yeah, Steve couldn't join us. He's our lead guitarist. He's a little under the weather, but he's with us in spirit.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said the greetings.
All good. For the first question of the interview, would you guys want to go back in the history of Burned in Effigy and how the band all got started?
I'll take this one. I joined Burn in Effigy when it was basically a startup project with basically just two other guitar players. We found Matt, brought Matt into the fold, and we were an instrumental band for a long time. And then we eventually found Smetty. We had a little bit of a lineup change happen, and we have two new guitar players now, Michael and Stephen, who's not here. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
How did you guys come up with the band name Burned in Effigy?
So that was actually like the working title of one of the songs that one of the guitarists had written. And so when, I think even before I had come in, they had already talked about it, like, so like, you know, well, that sounds like a great name for the band. So that ended up being named for the band, and unfortunately that song never saw the light of day.
Okay, was that all you guys wanted to say for that question?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the band name just stuck. That's what we ended up doing everything under, and we've had to. I mean, that's become our identity. Let's better fight for it.
Yeah, I mean, like the name was kind of come up with before I was in the band. I mean, like, so it's just kind of always been like we've always just kind of been Burned in Effigy, man. Yeah. Well, at least since I've been around.
Okay. Would you go back in the history of how you guys all met and which bands you originally came from to unify the band lineup for Burned in Effigy?
So funny enough, I had known Smetty since I was about 14 years old. Smetty used to be in a band called Remora. He sang, and at the time when I was 14, they needed a drummer, and I came and auditioned, and it really didn't work out, and they got their old drummer back. But I had known Smetty, so a bunch of time went by, and this project had started, and I had met Matt. Funny enough, Matt and I went to the same high school, but graduated in different years and didn't even know each other existed. And when we needed a vocalist, I remembered Smetty and told him to bring him in. So he kind of hit me up, and we worked that out. And as far as Michael, how did you know him from the other band, right?
Yeah. Me and Mikey have another band together. Scathing Torment's a thrash metal band, and I want to say, were you a Craigslist kind of calling from somewhere? So it's like a long lore of like different bands through different guys that we all met, and somehow Mikey came into the picture through a Craigslist ad, I want to say, and he doesn't live far from us, man. And he, like, I don't know, ever since Mikey's been around, like, been like what, 7-8 years we've been jamming together, like outside of this band.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been a while.
But yeah, he's just been like, you know, one of the bros, man. He's always been there. So there's yeah.
I guess with Steven, it was a very similar situation too, because I had just found him on Facebook randomly, and we brought him in, and we're like, dude, this guy can shred, you know. So no, it's been really interesting how we've all kind of assembled. We're all from different towns for the most part, and it's just been working out really nicely. You know, we feel like, you know, collectively we write some really killer music now.
Yeah, we're all like we're a solid unit, man. You know, we're all brothers. You know, we all clan up together and have a good time. You know, as a band should.
Right on. Just so you guys know, I actually jammed the album Rex Mortem a little bit a couple of days ago, and that album is absolutely sick and awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
What are some of the band's immediate music career goals?
I would say a big goal of ours in the immediate future is we've been working on a brand new album, and we want that album to see the light of day. So everything we've been doing recently is just kind of getting everything ready for that.
Yeah, just making sure it has a proper release. You know, rolling out, you know, the singles, you know, videos and stuff bit by bit. Just, you know, giving it the attention it deserves.
Right. We want to do its due diligence, so we want to apologize for any of our fans or listeners who are upset about the delay and us taking our time here, but we promise it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, like I think our next immediate goal would be like, you know, to put out a product that's the best, some of the best work that we can do. And I mean, between the five of us, you know, I think we pushed pretty hard for that. You know, put a lot of hard work into it.
This next one might get you guys laughing a little bit. Who designed the Burned in Effigy band logo?
So that was a guy named Sushant Vora. I think he's out of California. Really, I mean, we had an old logo that was designed by like a friend of one of the bandmates, one of our bandmates. And we did like our first EP with that logo, but you know, we wanted something new, something instantly recognizable, but that didn't, you know, that fit the sound, but didn't look like every other death metal band logo, you know. And this guy just knocked it out of the park. We gave him like all the, you know, preferences. We gave him our idea, the concept, what we really need out of it, and that's how we ended up with our logo.
Okay, just give me a sec, guys, while I take a sip of coffee before we get into the next question. With Rex Mortem being out, would you mind talking about how this album came to see the light of day?
That was a kind of long process because we were almost done recording it right before the pandemic hit. So, and that had already been kind of a long process, like recording most of the album. So then that delayed that even further. After we had finished recording, and like kind of during mixing, that's when we went through some lineup changes, parted ways with one of our old guitarists, and then the other one left to focus on music school. We found Mikey just in time, and Steve kind of fell out of the sky on us. So we wanted to make sure that we had a full band and we're ready to like actually promote the album, you know, because we had the finished tracks, but we didn't have like a full band ready to go yet. So we had to round out the lineup with just the right people. Got a PR campaign going for it, released it, and we actually got more attention than we thought we would get.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we were almost at a point. We were at a low, like in the band's career, because you know we were parting ways with both of our guitarists at the time, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to put this album out. We're like, well, what are we going to do? So we decided, you know what, man, we're gonna push forward. We're gonna get some more guitarists, and you know, at least put our feelers out there. At the bare minimum, at least try and put it out there for the world to hear. So we did that, and you know, luck was kind of on our side, and we had some really talented guys who could come in and guys who could you know, claim the torch and run with it, man.
I think the important thing was not only finding guys who, you know, would do Rex Mortem justice, but do justice for our sound in the future. You know, with writing new music as well, and who fit in and all that. So for Rex Mortem to see the light of day, it was actually it was a power struggle for sure to get there, but we were gonna get there or die trying.
Hell yeah. That was our spirit, anyways. You know, our determination.
Just sorry, did I cut you off there, Smitty?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I just thought I'd check. Just so you guys know, with the band lineup, I know how that feels. I'm with my girlfriend here, trying to get our band back going after a 19-year hiatus. We might have the lineup together, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Still trying to get it together. I haven't given up on my dream yet. And Eddie knows about this, but not the rest of you. I'm going to let you hear a sample of what I can do.
Nice.
Hell yeah, dude. That's good, man. Don't give up on your dreams, dude.
I won't. I actually do old deicide, old dope attack. I do some malignancy. I studied from all the old guys that were in the scene back in the 80s. I had a little bit of Deeds of Flesh in and some Crown of Thorns for my style to get
Oh
myself
yeah, dude.
with that sound. I didn't do highs, but I won't do those in this interview because I want to try and get this done so you guys can get on and practice if you want to tonight.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Who came up with a majority of the writing for Rex Mortem? Was it individual people contributing or a joint effort?
So most, as far as the instrumentals, most of it was written by our old guitarist Vito. I mean, there was, a little bit of changes, pitched in by everyone. I had written most of the song Artorias. And then the lyrics are all
I wrote all the lyrics. So basically I came into like, a whole huge that whole album, and they were initially just going to release it as an instrumental, but I joined the band kind of late in the writing and recording process, and I just let the songs speak to me, and a lot of these songs seemed really regal and royal, and like had almost an elegance of theme to it. So I wrote a lot of the lyrical content about kings and vengeance and yeah, the stuff like that. It's a kind of a lore we're working on right now, like a tale. So yeah.
Then going forward for the new stuff, it was a pretty even split between me, Mikey, and Steve for writing the instrumentals for the new one. Very even collaborative process. So we're really happy with how that's turned out.
Cool, man. This next couple, if you're okay with me getting you guys to talk about a couple of my favorite songs off the Rex Mortem album, and these both might be answered by Smitty. What were the themes and concepts behind the song Nightfall and the song Vendetta?
Oh, okay. Those are like my favorites. Like, okay, so as far as Nightfall goes, that was the first song I wrote lyrics for the band, and it was the way that song starts off very hauntingly with the guitar line. It immediately made me think of like something of Dracula or like some evil creature. So that song was about being cursed with immortality and forced to feed on the blood of the living in order to, I guess not retain your immortality, but you're cursed already with it. So it's like that whole you can't let go of life, and it's a curse that will haunt you, and you can't, you are undying forever. So that's a lot of what the concept for Nightfall was about. But Vendetta, that song, I initially started to write that song. It's kind of a personal song to me. I started writing it about like a childhood bully who kind of like picked on me, I guess, as a kid. But the more and more I wrote into it, the more and more I realized that song was more about like me reflecting in on myself and me destroying the things about me that I don't like. And it's just kind of a play on words. It's a bit violent, a bit vulgar, but it's also if you look at it from the right perspective, it can be empowering.
Just so you guys know, that Vendetta song actually hits home with me. I was in my childhood a victim of bullying from kindergarten through 7, 8, and 8. I was bullied, but as a grade 9, I bulked up and I became the bully of the school.
All right. Well,
when I was younger, I used to be able to do 225 in muscle. I could bench almost 450.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I lost all of it because of drinking and drugging, unfortunately.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that.
Yeah, I've recovered. And Eddie's really proud of this. None of you, the other three of you don't know this. I've been 13 years clean from drinks and drugs.
Woo! My man.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Congrats.
Excellent, dude. Good on you, bud.
What have the reviews been like so far for Rex Mortem?
Reviews?
Yeah, I mean, so as far as the ones that I've seen online, they're mostly very positive. Uh, we've been pretty happy. I mean, especially when we're out and we're playing shows, people tell us, that they're really looking forward to the next album. Our social media engagements have been pretty good. Um, Pretty happy with it. I mean, honestly, I'm really excited to see what people think of the new album, and I really think they're going to like it. Comparatively, I think it's even more aggressive than Rex Mortem just a little bit, but it's. I'm hoping people like it as much as Rex Mortem. That's for sure.
This next one's a really good one. Where can Rex Mortem be purchased?
You can, I mean, digitally, you can get that online on iTunes or Amazon, but best place to do it would be Bandcamp. You can get a physical copy there if you're in the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., fortunately, we're not shipping outside the U.S. yet. We don't quite have international shipping figured out, but we're going to try and figure out a international shipping solution for that too.
But the best place, in my opinion, is to come out to the show and buy it from our merch table.
If you guys do get it so you can internationally ship it, I want a copy of the Rex Mortem album.
Absolutely, we'll make that happen.
We got one put aside for you, dude.
Right on. Please give some guitar tips or advice for starting out guitarists.
Oh man. Well, because I'm the rhythm guitarist, so like I wish Steve was here for this one. Because like he's the guy. But metronome is, believe it or not, is your best friend and your most honest friend, for sure. And I would say do whatever you need to do to keep it fun. Don't do something that if you get frustrated by doing scales and exercises, go play a song that makes you happy, because that's going to keep you returning back. That's going to keep filling that tank up with energy for you to go, yeah, I want to power through this frustration and learn more.
Yeah.
Like don't be afraid to go for it, even if you're like, I'm not fast enough yet. Go for it. Give it a shot. Maybe you get half of it right. You might be surprised. You gotta practice makes perfect. You get out of it what you put in. That's what I've noticed. It's a lot like working out. It's a very physical thing with your mind and the muscles in your arms and your hands and anything else. Like it's exercise, but you get in what you get out of it what you put in, for sure.
Please give some vocal tips or advice for starting out vocalists.
Well,
Certainly not asking.
yeah, well, man. Okay, so if I were to start over, because I mean, oh my gosh, that's a good question. Tips: don't overstrain yourself. It's not about being the loudest. It's about technique and having a good breathing technique as well. That's one thing I've noticed a lot about. When I first started out, it was just shoot from the hip, scream as hard and as loud as you can, and it wasn't the best technique. And as time went on, I learned more about how to hold back and which screams sounded better from which techniques. And the Zen of Screaming DVD with Melissa, I think what's her name, Melissa Cross. I think, yeah, she helped me out a lot with breathing. Not so much technique, but breathing a lot. Knowing what my body and lungs and what you could do with a scream. But I would say just don't give up, man, and find what works best with your voice, and then see how far you can push it without pushing it too.
Funny thing you mentioned the Zen of Screaming. I had the first video DVD lesson on a burnt DVD here at the house. I've gone through it all. I've learned the breathing techniques, and then the second part is the harder part, learning the techniques to adapt your voice to what you're capable of projecting with.
Right.
Like when I started, I was 16. I'm 48 now. I still got my voice, but the way I do my growls, it's hard to go as low as I can. People in the local scene said, "No, you're going too low. You're going to blow your voice out." I'm like, "Bullshit! You don't know what I'm capable of." And I'll prove it even more. I am Steve. Jump attack.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude.
Some brutal shit, brother.
I've been doing this a long time. I've learned several different techniques. I got 4 ranges I can use for myself that are low ranges right now. I've developed over the years between 16 and 48 now when I'm still doing these vocals.
Man. Keep it up, dude.
Yeah. This next one's for the bass player. Please give some bass tips or advice for starting out bassists.
So yeah, essentially. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I was originally a guitarist that then switched to bass. So when I was kind of starting out on bass, I was able to kind of think of it properly and understand like how to practice better. But focus on the basics, the fundamentals. The bassist before. You can be a bassist and do flashy stuff, but before that, you've got to be the rock solid bassist of everything else. If you're sloppy on any of, anything that you're playing, you got to tighten that up. You got to be rock solid, even more than like the guitarists are at their parts. And then once you can play in the pocket perfectly, then start learning how to play out of the pocket. Do some flashy shit.
Right on. And before we get into asking Eddie about the drum tips and techniques, you guys know of a band called Brutal Truth, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Eddie, the next one's for you. Please give some drum tips or advice for starting out drummers.
So I actually thought about this one quite a bit, and I think have some money because drums are expensive. That's probably the biggest one. No, for real though. The biggest advice I can give someone who's starting out is get a teacher and a real human teacher. Not YouTube. That really helped me early on, like taking lessons. It's totally worth it, and for a lot of reasons. Serve the song. Some drummers overplay, some drummers underplay. Serve, find that middle ground, and take pride in your work. Going back on the gear being expensive thing, really invest in nice cases for your gear too. That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, have some money for the gear though. It's expensive. That's my advice.
This next one's going to get you all involved talking a little bit. Might get you on a bit of a rant too. Eddie remembers this one from a past interview I did with him. What advice do you have for people who want to form their own bands?
This goes back to that gear thing.
In my opinion, if you want to start a band, if you want to form a band, I mean, not only do you have to find musicians, you have to find people who have a knack or a want to continue to get better at their instruments and know that the sky is the limit. Not just that, but you also have to find people who you get along with. Because I've been in bands before in the past where, people don't necessarily get along and you just kind of pull it together for the better of the group, and it leads to a not fun time. So I would say find some decent musicians, find some people you get along with. That's what I would say.
I want to add to that. I would say communication is like the most important thing. Almost every time a band falls apart, it's just due to people not being able to communicate properly with each other, people not being able to understand like where other people are coming from, what other people's needs are, not being able to put themselves in other people's shoes. To be able to, just between just personal relationships, but then also being able to communicate your musical ideas. I mean, it's everything, really.
Yeah. If I could add, if nothing else, do it because you want to and because you love it. That's the only good reason.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it seems like there's lots of one-man bands out there. Look at Future Pile, man. Like, he's just got a drum machine and some backup tracks. He does that shit. He does it all by himself, man. So I mean, forming a band is one thing, but I mean, like, if you have just musical aspirations to further yourself in life, don't let anybody stop you, man. Not even yourself.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is very low for if you just want to create music. I feel like that's the other big thing. It's like if you just want to create music, do it by yourself. But it's like if you want the band experience, then form a band with the right people.
Yeah. That's kind of sometimes the hardest part, though. I mean, finding people who are on the same page, into the same music as you, who have the same vision and goal. Because it's like being in a band isn't it's not the easiest thing sometimes. It's you put all your hopes and dreams and aspirations into this big cauldron, and everybody's going the same way. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does.
Just gotta make sure everyone's rowing in the same direction.
Right. And yeah, exactly.
Like any truly serious relationship in life, it's all about communication.
Right on. That leads us to the next one. What are the foreseeable plans for the future with Burn and Effigy? Any plans for more touring, sales of CDs, or other stuff?
We do want to tour. We do.
We'd love to.
We do have some. We've been in talks, and nothing's for sure, but we do want to tour.
It's in the works.
That is something we do want to work on in the future and get out of state and play some more. And we have recently been doing some out of state stuff, but we want to do some more like 7 to 10 day run or something like that, and more weekenders, and just get our beaks wet out of the local Chicagoland area for sure. And then the other big stuff is just like we've said, this new album is really the big thing that's coming. As far as our plan to release it, and we want to do our due diligence and cover all our bases. So that's pretty much it. We shot a music video yesterday. That was pretty cool. Can't wait to finally have it out there and people see it though.
This next one's a really good one. Might get you guys laughing a bit. I know it does when I ask it. What could a band do to better promote themselves?
I think we're trying to figure that one out ourselves as well. That's an ongoing question, It really is, because you can always promote yourself better, right? And then there's the other side of it where some people take it to an extreme where like, no publicity is bad publicity, which
I think it's like art, good work speaks for itself, though. I mean, if you put out something that has good quality and people like, I mean, it promotes itself a lot better than you think it would. But there are things that you could do better, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I always go by is that I think that if you want someone to check out something, you gotta tell it to them at least 3 times. It's not even until that 3rd time where they're really even going to consider checking it out. And even then, they may need to be reminded again to check it out again and have it really sink in, have them, really start to come back to it on their own. It's not just enough for just to get someone to listen to something for 20 seconds.
I'm going to bounce off something that you said recently. and it's a really interesting point, is I'd rather have fans that are really engaged, you know, that really like what we do and follow us with all of our releases and, you know, everything that's going on with us, than rather just a bunch of people know who we are and hear us, but aren't really necessarily that big a fan. I'd rather have hardcore fans and less of them than a bunch of people that know about us that, you know, aren't, you know what I mean? But my point is, we want to make a connection with our audience. You know what I mean? We don't, we want people who are engaged, and we want to engage with them as well and create content that is exciting and is going to keep them coming back for more.
We're Burning Effigy, and we want to be your new favorite band.
This next one's an even better one. What are some of your favorite moments when on tour?
I could tell you a funny story is we went, the last time we played an out-of-state show, we went to Sweetwater. And if you don't know what that is, it's a very, very big music store, Indianapolis, or right outside Indianapolis, I think, or Fort Wayne. Yeah, maybe not as close to Indianapolis as I thought, but so we went there and we ended up spending way too much time looking at music gear, and we were like, oh crap, we have to get to a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
once you get, you know, all of us at a music store, though, it's, you know, we kind of forget everything else.
Yeah. Also, I mean, like, I enjoy the gas station stops, man. You know, we get to hammer out some awesome snacks. You know, check out what's going on in the local gas station. Mostly check out some pork rinds and beef jerky. Check out what energy drinks they got. Yeah. See how daring our palate is for the local cuisine.
I was really pleased to show Steve Weird Al Yankovic for the first time. I made him listen to Albuquerque, which is like a 12+ minute song. So it was very satisfying.
Weird Al Yankovic's Prague epic.
Basically.
Well, kind of goes back to, like, you know, what I was saying earlier about, like, you know, all of us getting along and being a unit. You know, where you have to be in a group that people, you know, we like hanging out with each other, man. You know, it's not like any of us have any fucking bad feelings or bullshit in anywhere amongst us. If there is, it usually gets hashed out right away. And that's like, you know, coming down to sitting next to somebody for hours and hours and hours on the road on the way to a show. Like, you gotta love it, man. You know, you have to, you gotta love your teammates, man.
What are some of your favorite moments when in the studio?
Oh man.
So there was this one time that Steven brought a cheesecake and I ate the whole thing, and I was pretty sick afterward. Maybe that's more of a least favorite moment, actually.
And you ate a bunch of donut holes that day too.
I didn't. I was eating like crap.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually in the studio. There's a bunch of us there, and you know, it's the stuff that happens in between takes. All the jokes, goofing around.
Plus, we really like the guy we recorded both the albums with. You know, so we got a pretty good relationship with Jordan.
Jordan's a real one.
Yeah, man, we like hanging out with him too. So we got a nice little team over here, man. Getting like Matt was saying though, like it's the in between takes that's the real lightning in the bottle, you know.
Well, I'll say, as much as I do enjoy all the in between, you know, take banter and all the fun stuff, I'm really into the nerdy aspect of the recording stuff. So for me, it is incredibly exciting and beyond satisfying to hear something that you've envisioned in your mind for possibly months or even longer, and to hear that come together piece by piece and to slowly be like, even close, let alone for some of these songs to be like, this is what I heard in my head, man.
Yeah.
This is what I fucking heard in my mind, and it's there. It's hard to encapsulate that feeling in words. I like it a lot.
I will say, for anybody who is curious what it did really kind of look like for us in the studio, we have a very short, like, this kind of studio update on our YouTube and social media that people can look at. It's only like a minute or so, but kind of put some visuals in a little bit. You can kind of see the goofiness to all of it. You know, we like to joke around. We like to have fun.
Yeah, man.
Who designed the Rex Mortem band art?
The album art.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
the skull with a crown. Yeah, we
that was Martin Trottier from he was in a band called Depths of Hatred that we played with. Then we saw they did art. We liked one of the pieces. We got him to modify it a little bit from the what he originally had, just kind of fit our theme a little bit better with the crown. But yeah, it was perfect. We were able to just kind of take one of his pieces, and he was able to just meld it just right.
it was there wasn't much modification even after that. You know, like put a little border around it and our logo on the album cover, and it just seemed like it fit so well.
How did you guys come up with the album title Rex Mortem? Is there a story behind it?
Well, a lot of these songs have to do with a theme that we have in this lore we're writing, I guess you could say. It has to do with the king, and in Latin, Rex Mortem means king of death. I want to say, yeah, king of death. And we thought, we didn't really necessarily, I don't know, we didn't really have an album like title. We just kind of wanted to go with something. We went with the Latin theme, king of death.
It just kind of tied into the lyrics and of some of the songs and telling kind of the tale of a king who eventually triumphs over death. We didn't tell like a full story within the first album, but it started that framework of telling that story. Like some of these songs on the new album kind of fill in spots in the first album, but we're constructing that story.
Yes.
Cool. Just so you guys know, this next one is a really good one. What are the band's foreseeable goals? As in, are there any festivals you would like to get on and be part of that are a dream, a goal of yours?
Many.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, like, there's countless festivals to name that we would love to be a part of.
Yeah, all the biggest ones.
I mean, no, there's even like local festivals that we'd love to be a part of. You know, we won't say no to any show unless it really just doesn't make sense for us or isn't the right fit or we can't do it. You know what I mean? As far as festivals go, I mean, we need to get out there and be seen. Why would we say no to any festival?
We got 10 more questions for the interview, and then we'll do the station IDs. The next one is, who got you into playing guitar and was a major influence to you as a musician?
Well, Steven's not here to answer that question, but I can very confidently say one of his biggest heroes was Randy Rhoads.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
Randy Rhoads, Yngwie Malmsteen,
him and me,
Vinnie Moore probably.
Yeah.
God, like half of the 80 threaders, he worships those guys. And you can tell he plays like he's from another planet. And he's got a lot of other modern influences as well. Like he can play Necrophagus faster than it's recorded. So I think it's safe to say, Muhammad and Christian are pretty heavy influences on him. Me myself, it's kind of weird because I started playing like pop punk and really simple radio kind of music, and I slowly just like got into heavier music. At one point, Yngwie Malmsteen was absolutely a hero for me. It's I don't know. That's kind of a hard question to answer right now. But probably one of my favorites I could easily name off the top of my head is Paul Wagner from Between the Buried and Me, because I have never seen him play a bad show. He can play fucking anything. And I don't know. That's all I got.
This next one's for you, Smitty. Who got you into vocals? As in, who was your major vocal influence or idol when growing up?
Well, there was a few different vocalists, I guess you could say. Growing up, I was kind of a new metal kid, you know, growing up in the late '90s. Um, so I mean, there was a couple different bands that really stood out to me, and uh, singer Fear Factory was definitely one of them because like he had a really deep voice, but he also had some really brutal screams, and they had amazing double bass, like shit, like when you're 11, 12 years old and you hear the album Obsolete, you know, it just blows your mind. Another vocalist that I was really taken back from like right away was you know, being probably like 11 years old, hearing Slipknot's first album for the first time, dude. I heard nothing like Corey Taylor at that time, so me being a little kid, like, you know, growing up, like he was definitely someone who introduced me or like shined a little bit of a light on other bands that I could listen to. And then another guy, I think his name's Chad Gray from Mudvayne. He definitely influenced me a lot as a younger dude. But the older I got, you know, more I got into the brutal stuff, man. You know, guys like Glenn Benton had that real deep, you know, deicide shit, and then a lot of black metal bands, you know, had some really high pitched kind of stuff. And another vocalist back when I was younger, Jesse from Killswitch. Really, he showed me, not personally, but like just by listening to his music, you know, he showed me a lot of possibilities of what you could do with singing and screaming, you know, at the same time. I'm not much of a singer, but it was just really cool to see what he, you know, to have that type of vocalist, you know, show that, like, you know, through an album. It was very inspiring.
This next one's for you, Eddie. Who got you into drums when you were growing up? And your favorite idol or drummer that got you started playing the drum kit?
When I was growing up, it was definitely a lot of Rush. So like Neil Peart, a lot of Mike Portnoy, who just rejoined Dream Theater. Um, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of prog rock drumming for the most part. And then it turned into people like Billy Cobham and, you know, more like fusion drumming, jazzy stuff. Um, Gene Krupa. I don't know, like a lot of those jazzy guys, honestly. Even though I'm a death metal drummer, I don't know. You know,
That's from some jazz.
yeah. Just a little. I really appreciate a good jazz drummer. You know what I mean?
All right. This next one's for the bass player. Who got you into bass when growing up? As in your major bass idol musically?
So, like I kind of said before, I originally was a guitarist, but I remember one of the songs that really got me thinking about the possibilities in bass that I hadn't considered before. I was listening to the song Blood Meat by Protest the Hero. And there's a section of the song where it's got these he's playing 5-string bass and he's got these wide, just tapping arpeggios, and never heard that before. And one of my friends who was a bass player, he had left his like 4-string bass in my house, and I was saying I couldn't play the whole thing because it's back to the forward string. But that's when I started messing around with that, and I really started seeing what else could be done. Then I started, you know, looking into more like, you know, death metal bassists. So a lot of them that, you know, have a lot of that kind of, a lot of jazz influence in them, honestly. I mean, and currently there's a lot of bass players out there that are killing it. Andrew Kim from Fury's a massive influence. Um, Forrest from currently First Fragments and previously Beyond Creation, his work on fretless bass is insane. And while I don't play a fretless bass, there's certainly one song on the new album where I'm really trying to emulate the feel of fretless bass as much as possible.
What are the plans for band gear endorsements? Any particular gear company you would like to be endorsed by?
So this is going back to drumming gear being expensive. What's up, Meinl?
Ibanez would be a dream.
Yeah. Ibanez or Jackson guitars for me. Those are, I mean, I would always like to go a custom route at some point, but like as far as any production models, like those are two of the most consistent brands I've ever picked up. So that would be pretty sick.
Smitty?
I mean, I like Shure microphones.
Smitty needs a sponsorship for Liquid Death, and
Yeah.
whatever pork rind company will sponsor him, or Slim Jim will work too.
Yeah. Yeah, text Slim Jim.
Me personally, I'm hoping to get endorsed by Shure Microphones, or the other one I'm thinking of going with, Sennheiser.
Oh, Sennheiser's a great company, man. The Germans, yeah.
I think they're German, aren't they?
I don't think
Sennheiser. I think they are. I could be wrong.
Who are the band's musical influences?
so. That's an interesting question because I think, as far as this band, like the influences have maybe changed when we were an instrumental band early on to what we are really heavily influenced by now, which would be more, I would say, your melodic death metals, your progressive metal genre. Bands like I think we're all very influenced by Black Dahlia for sure.
That's an obvious one.
Yeah, it's very obvious. You know, you guys want to throw out some more bands?
Narcissus is another band I think that really definitely influenced a lot of things in the band as far as like string work and vocal patterns, stuff like that for me, anyways.
I think as far as I mean, there's obviously a lot of neoclassical influence in there. Human Abstract was a big influence on Rex Mortem. I think a bit on the new album too. As far as the neoclassical progressive side, there's a lot of technical death metal influence on the new album. So obviously Necrophagist, classic, but also I don't know. We really brought in a wider range of influences on the newer album, I think. So there's really everything kind of ranging from melodic death metal to progressive metal to technical metal. Yeah.
Do you have any social media network outlets the band can be reached on?
Absolutely. We are on everything. Facebook, you can find us Burned in Effigy. On Instagram, our tag is Burned in Effigy IL for Illinois. All of our really, you can find any of our stuff by going to Linktree/Burned in Effigy. So that would be linktr-ee/Burned in Effigy. That's, for all intents and purposes, our website. You can get to everything from there. Everything that we're on, you can get from that site.
Do you have a YouTube channel? And if so, what can be found on it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what can be found on it. We're going to have some new content in the future, but as far as right now, you can find all of Rex Mortem, our studio update. Every month we try to post a lick of the month, or at least Steve posts a lick of the month. We want to get more engagements out there. I'm sure we'll have playthroughs in the future, more music videos.
Yeah, we just put out a music video for Artorias on there. For some live footage that we played the West Chicago Social Club with Jungle Rod. But yeah, we're gonna be trying to put even more on there. So definitely subscribe.
Yeah, there's a lot of live footage on there too.
Cool. And before we get out of here and ask the last question and then get the state highs, I thank you guys here for the time over at Mangled Music Radio with Craig's Middlestorm. And that leads us to the last question on the evening, which is what new band news do you have on the front of Burn in Effigy? And anything we might have missed in this interview?
I think we covered it pretty well, man. I mean, the biggest thing is that we got new music that's coming and and be patient with us. You know, we promise it's coming.
Big things coming soon.
Yeah.
Right on. And then now these are the station IDs. I'm going to use Eddie as the example, and the other three of you are going to follow up with a station ID right after him. Eddie, this is the example I'm using. Hey, this is Eddie of Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
Got it. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready whenever you guys are.
This is Eddie from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
Hey, this is Matt from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
Hey, this is Mike from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
This is Smetty from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to. Fuck, I dropped it.
It's Mangled Music
Mangled Music.
Radio.
What? Hold on, one more time.
Mangled Music
Mangled
Radio.
Music Radio.
Mangled Music Radio.
Started the whole thing. Do it again.
We'll try again. Take two. Eddie, ready when you are.
This is Eddie from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
And this is Matt from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
This is Mike from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
This is Smetty from Burned in Effigy. You're listening to.
No.
What is?
No.
I keep on wanting to say
Write it down.
Mangled Music Radio.
Mangled Music Radio.
I'm so
We'll keep
tired.
the other three guys. We're just going to get Smitty to redo it once the tag's written up for him. We just need to redo it, you, Smitty. It's the station IDs, Mangled Music Radio. You know what to say before that.
All right. This
Ready
is
when you are,
Smetty.
Smitty.
You ready?
Yep.
This is Smetty from Burned in Effigy. You're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
And then we're going to do the same station ID, starting with Eddie for Craig's Metal Storm.
This is Eddie from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Craig's Metal Storm.
And this is Matt from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Craig's Metal Storm.
This is Mike from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Craig's Metal Storm.
This is Smetty from Burned in Effigy, and you're listening to Craig's Metal Storm.
Cool. Thank you guys very much for your time, and thank you very much for the interview tonight, you guys. I really appreciate getting you guys in here on the show.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Bud.
Thank you
Have
very
a great night.